Hi there. I'm so excited for you to be here today. I want to start by introducing myself. My name is Mariah. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I am a singer-songwriter. And I'm assuming that most of you, if you're joining me today, then you are either already a songwriter or you are interested in songwriting and or at least curious at the very least. And I'm excited to be talking with you today. I have been a touring artist as well as songwriter for over 10 years now, and majored in music business with emphasis in songwriting. So it's really been my passion in my life for a long time. And I've gleaned a lot from personal experience as well as my mentors and co-writing. I write for other artists. I write in the country genre as well as pop, dance pop a little bit, and Christian genres. So kind of across the board, which is a lot of fun. I love it. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is an idea that it's about ideas, songwriting ideas, and it really translates across genres, across the board. So regardless of the genre, the type of music that you enjoy or that you want to be writing in or that you are currently writing in, these are applicable resources that you can pull from for any genre and for any style of music. So today, as beginners, beginning songwriting, whether you have never written a song or whether you are looking to continue your writing and grow it, everything starts with ideas. There are no songs without song ideas. And as you grow through, and even people that master songwriting are still looking for new ideas and ways to master their ideas. I'm going to go ahead and switch here to computer to get off my jiggly phone here as my technical stuff has been figured out. Make sure y'all can still see me. So with ideas, there's a couple things we're going to cover today. We're going to be talking about the basis of ideas, what that even means in context of songwriting, because there's a difference between thoughts and ideas. So we're going to cover that first. We are going to be moving from the basics of songwriting ideas to ways to get them and or ways to enhance and improve the ideas that you already have. So that's going to be in the inspiration category. And then from there, I want to move us into taking those ideas and actually creating a song out of them, taking them from a wide just net of an idea, narrowing it down to a 3.5-minute song, which is, if you're doing commercial songwriting, that's what you're going to be mostly probably leaning towards. There's, of course, different ways you can do that, and you can, all rules are made for breaking. So I'm going to start off by saying that that's something I learned in college with songwriting, and then in my career so far. Learning rules is so important because it gives you a basis to start from. But there's always an option to bend and break rules in songwriting in order to achieve your ultimate goal. But starting with the foundations is so important. So that's what we're going to be covering today. I'm still switching to computer, so I apologize for that. I can hear myself. All right, just a moment. I'm going to be getting off of this one and jumping in there. To take 1 second. Can you see me on here? All right. I think that we're still going. Okay. Give me a thumbs up or send me a message if all is, if you can see me and hear me okay. All right, so with ideas, welcome to my computer screen. We are in my writing room today, which is where I write as well as teach from. All right, so with ideas, we're gonna also be doing questions here. So feel free to jot down a question or submit them through the chat, and I'll be taking breaks in between our sections here to answer some questions, and I'll also take a little bit of time to answer at the end as well. So first things first is, what is an idea? It sounds like a silly question, but when it comes to songwriting, it's one of the most important things because ideas are going to be your best friend and they're going to be your biggest asset as you move forward in songwriting, as well as if you ever choose to co-write or get into a situation where you are collaborating in songwriting. Ideas are your best friend. So knowing the difference between a thought or a feeling and an actual idea is really imperative. So what's the difference? Well, if you ask Merriam-Webster, the dictionary, they're going to tell you that an idea is a formulated thought or opinion. I like to add, for songwriting purposes, I like to add feeling or message in there. So formulated thought, formulated opinion, formulated feeling, or formulated message for songwriting. The key word there is formulated, because if it's not formed, if there's not a direction there, then it's just a thought. It's not quite an idea just yet. So for instance, say you walked into a room, or if you're writing by yourself and you thought, I want to write a happy song. That's not necessarily an idea for a song. That's a feeling or a direction as far as type of song you'd want to write. But it's not an actual idea for a song. If you want to write a happy song, that's awesome and that's a good place to start, but you still have to come up with an idea that's happy, if that makes sense. So that's the difference between just having a thought and having a formulated thought or a formulated feeling, an actual idea in context of songwriting. So does this mean that it has to be it's not an idea unless it's fully structured and fleshed out? No, you still have time for that. Your idea will become a song and become a structure and take life later. It doesn't have to be fully fleshed out in order to be an idea. It just has to be somewhat formulated. So what does that look like with songs? Great question, y'all. I love that. There's a lot of answers to that, but for the sake of our class today, just getting started, there's 3 that I'd like to focus on for you. We have melodic, lyrical, and conceptual ideas. Melodic idea is going to be note-based, music-based, strings of notes that create a structure of some kind. For instance, an example of a melodic idea would be like, and this would be, it can be vocal or it can be instrumental. It's just musical notes would be what would lean towards a melodic idea. So taking form with that might be something like love. So that little sequence, it's not a full song yet. It's not really anything yet, except it is a formulated idea, a melody idea. So that would be an example of a melodic idea that you could then write a song around. So that's melodic. Another form for songwriting that an idea can take is lyrical. So lyrical is going to be, whereas melodic is note based and leans towards melody, a lyrical idea is going to include words. So instead of strings of notes, it'll be strings of words that come together to make a pattern, make a sentence, a phrase, eventually maybe even a hook or a line to a song. So that would be your lyrical idea. Your third, so you have melodic, lyrical, and your third is conceptual. A conceptual idea is going to be situational, a story possibly. It's going to be a feeling or a message that you want to deliver with your song. So a conceptual idea would be something like, so I gave you that melodic idea. That would be just a simple little thing that you could base a song off of. A conceptual idea would be, for instance, saying, I want to write a song about the bond between 2 people that can't be broken regardless of distance or time. So that's a flushed out, formulated thought, formulated opinion, formulated idea is what that's a conceptual idea that you're going to be writing a song about. A lyrical idea would be, a reference to that would be, How far would I go for you? There's nothing I wouldn't do. And just as simple as that. So it's just 2 sentences there, but it's maybe that pops into your mind. You have just a line that could turn into a line of a verse, that could turn into a hook, that could be elaborated on, and a whole song could be written around that. So it's not a full song yet, but it is an idea. It's a formulated idea. So we've got those 3. We've got melodic, we've got conceptual, and we've got lyrical ideas. And you can probably tell from those examples that that's different than the example I gave earlier of saying, I want to write a happy song. So I want to write a happy song just means you want your ideas to be happy. And so you want to write a song with ideas that would make you feel happy. But that's not an idea for a song. The idea for the song would be, there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. Or la 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 la. So that would be your ideas. So there's a difference there. I want to go ahead and pause for questions just in case. I'm going to open up this chat here. Let me know if you have any questions about those 3 things. What an idea is versus just a thought, or the types of ideas that for purposes of song type of ideas would be conceptual, melodic, or lyrical. Yeah, so a thought is something you think, but an idea is something you can go off of more. Right, exactly. So that's a great, you're getting it for sure. So your thought is just gonna is very small. An idea is something you can actually turn into a song. So I wanna start with this basis because even though it seems pretty simple, as you build from the foundation for songwriting, your chances of successful songwriting, whether it's just songs for yourself or for your friends, or if you're chasing the career of it, starting with that real strong foundation of really knowing not just how to write a song, but what you're saying and why you're writing it. And that starts with the foundation of what an idea is. Does anyone have any questions about those 3 things? Oh, here, I'm opening up the other one. Great question. So I had a question here with how do you make your melodic or lyrical ideas align? I'm going to get to that a little bit further into this, but for a quick answer for that purpose right now is we're going to be working towards a goal of the song. So once you start with one idea, and maybe you have 2 ideas at once. So it's possible to have a conceptual and a lyrical idea at the same time, or melodic and conceptual. I very often write lyrics and melody at the very same time. I've been writing for a long time, but sometimes they come to me at the same time, and that does happen. And in that case, they do mesh up pretty seamlessly or naturally. But when you're starting with just one or the other, or one of the 3, you build on it once you set your goal of what type of song that you want to be writing, which we're going to be getting to. Any other questions before I move forward on that? Okay. So once you have, and again, if you do have any questions as I go, then jot them down or put them in here in the chat. And I just saw one that, what if an idea doesn't come to mind? That's a great question. And that's what we're getting to next. I love it. Y'all are on track with me. We're like eye to eye. This is great. So how do you get ideas? That's the nugget of this, right? I like to call this the inspiration phase. So we've done the basics of what an idea is. Now we need to move to how do you get an idea, or how do you advance the ideas that you already have? And that's inspiration. So this again is something that goes very deep, and if y'all want to do further lessons, I'd love to go deeper into that with you. For today, to break it down, I want to look at two types of inspiration here. So there's natural inspiration and there is found inspiration. Natural and found. So natural inspiration is going to be things that just pop into your mind. Some of you, if you have already written before or are in the process of advancing your writing, You maybe have experienced this before, where just a melody or a thought or a little lyrical thing just pops in your mind almost out of thin air, out of the blue, or you're in the shower and you start singing something that sounds pretty cool. That's going to be your natural inspiration. It just comes to you. If that's never happened to you before and you're interested in songwriting, that's okay, because it will happen. And the more you write and train your brain to be thinking in context of song form, more natural inspiration will come your way. That is something that does build up over time. So don't be afraid if you never, it doesn't mean you're not destined to be a songwriter. Ideas come in ebbs and flows as well. So natural inspiration is going to be those things that come supernatural, super easy to you, either melodic, lyrical, or conceptual. The other type of inspiration is found inspiration, and that's where I want to spend more time on, because that's where you have to find the inspiration. And how do you do that? I've broken it down into a few ways to find that inspiration. I'm going to just cover them briefly, and then I'll dig deep into them. I love my fellow shower singers. That's awesome. Yes, definitely. I sing in the shower all the time, and I've gotten some good songs out of that. So keep it up. Keep up the good work. All right. So for found inspiration, these are my tips for that. There's a couple different ways. One is observation. Two is relationships. If you're someone that likes to write notes, this might be a good place to jot down. Observation, relationships, I jotted them down, that's why I'm looking. Experience, past and present, imagined, and melodic. So those are going to be your found inspiration avenues. So let's break those down. Observation. This might sound very creepy, possibly, but found inspiration can be done in multiple ways. One of the best ways is eavesdropping. And I mean that in a genuine way. Eavesdropping on other people's conversations, really paying attention to the conversations that you're in with other people. If you're out sitting, maybe you're getting your oil changed, and you've got a room full of people in there, and people are on their phone or interacting at the counter. Listen to how they're interacting and the things that they're saying. If you're in a restaurant, listen to the booth behind you, not the whole time like a total creeper, but pop in from time to time. As a songwriter, you have the advantage of being an observer naturally, probably. If you're wanting to write and create a song, you're probably naturally interested in other people, naturally interested in conveying a message. So use that to your advantage and really observe how people are living around you, how they're interacting with each other, and how they're interacting with you. Another thing to really pay attention to with observation, to use observation to your advantage, is to not just listen to what people are saying, which is very important, because if you are gifted with songwriting, it's a responsibility to write something for other people to process their feelings. That's what people want to hear. They want to hear songs that help them through something, or make them laugh, or make them feel something, and that they can relate to. So that's why it's important to know what people are interested in and what they're doing in the world. But in addition to what people are saying, how they're saying it can be an incredible tool to getting ideas, getting lyrics, getting even structure sometimes. A great example of this, Kenny Chesney, who's a country artist, put out a song, I think it's probably 15 years ago, called The Good Stuff. That song came from a conversation a couple people were having, talking about life and different things in life that were simple. And they said, literally in conversation, man, that's the good stuff. And right there, that's a whole song is born, because that's the concept is there, that simple things in life are the good things in life. Also, you have your hook and your lyrical idea. Man, that's the good stuff. So two things came out of just listening to one conversation. So it seems simple, but it really is a tool that you can use to your advantage. So that's observation. Any questions about observation before I move forward? I don't want to miss anybody. All right, I'm going to move to the next one, but feel free to shoot out questions as we go. So the next way that I think is a great tool to use for finding ideas is relationships. And this is not just a romantic relationship. This is a relationship between family members, friendships, maybe romantic, past or present. But it's really just the bond that people have with each other and their interactions. So looking at your own relationships or other people's relationships is an incredible place to start when you're looking for inspiration for an idea for a song. This is going to be kind of in the category of feeling-based ideas. So think about things in order to apply that to your song and to really be looking for ideas. If you're moving into that relationship thing, think about people that have helped you or healed you and how they did that. The newness of relationships, maybe it's a romantic thing, or maybe it's maybe a new addition to the family, like a baby or something like that. Your hopes for other people, your hopes for yourself. Deep roots that you have with friends. I see someone wrote, the songs about like best friends. That makes a great foundation for an idea for songs to pull from. Maybe something you've wanted in a relationship but never found. That is a great place to start for finding inspiration. All of those things are relationship things in life that you can pull from for inspiration and glean multiple ideas from. So I have a song, for instance, that I wrote for my nieces, and I really truly just wrote it for them just to share with them because out of love for them. But I've played it all over the country now because it ends up being something that really relates to people the most, because they have nieces in their life or nephews, and or some young person in their life that they have big hopes and dreams for. So that kind of points to feelings-based idea, as well as making sure that you're staying relatable and listening to what people are interested in around you. That'll be an example of a relationship inspiration that you can build a whole song off of. Any questions about relationships? Okay, I'm gonna get through these next couple ones, and then we'll do a little bit of chunk of questions here. So we've done observation technique, relationship technique. This third one is experience, and that can be past or present. So experience, if you're thinking about your past, dig deep, dig into that memory bank and really go there. The key here is vulnerability and being very specific. That's where you're going to get your best songs and something that is going to relate to others well. So think about, when you're thinking about pulling from that memory bank, past experiences to get really good ideas or to enhance the ideas that you have. Think about, like, for instance, if you've been hurt in the past and you want to write a song about that. Think about the specific moment that led to you being hurt, or the person that hurt you, or if it was yourself. Dig deep, get vulnerable about why you did that. Do some soul searching there. And you can pull, that's something that can be very revealing and therapeutic, which is awesome about songwriting, but it also can give you a plethora of ideas to write about. If you have had maybe a past health concern that you've dealt with, or a struggle in that way, that is an incredible place to start as far as pulling from experience to write a song, and being very vulnerable, being very specific about what you went through. And even if you don't feel comfortable saying word for word, verbatim, how it happened, how your experience happened, pulling from the emotion of it and conveying that can get you a great idea. Maybe how you've overcome a big challenge in your life. So something current, an example of like current experience that you could pull from that's one of the best places to look for inspiration because you're living it right now. So it's very fresh and present. Think about things like ask yourself questions. And this is an exercise that is great to do when you are stuck on an idea or looking for something new or starting out fresh. Write down a list of things that are going on in your life right now. Just simple as that. Where are you in life right now? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be in your future? What do you do for fun? So an example of how you can turn that into a song, for instance, that's where a lot of the songs like clubbing songs or pontoon boat songs, fun songs like that, those are present experience songs. That's where they get those inspiration. So for instance, like let's say you are a horseback rider. You love riding horses. That's awesome. So that would be your focus. You could sit down and write a list of what it makes you feel like when you ride. For instance, I jotted this down. If it's a horseback riding, let's say, when I ride, I feel free, I feel wild, I feel grounded, I feel no boundaries. Maybe when you ride your horse, it reminds you of your grandma that taught you how to ride. Or maybe you've moved to the city and you, every time you get near a horse, you think back on when you used to get to ride horses when you're home. So all those things that can relate to something that you love doing in your life, a current thing. Well, right there, you can narrow that down into a song once you make a list of how it makes you feel. When I ride, right there could be a hook to a song. So when I ride, I feel free, I feel wild. When I ride, I'm, this or that. And you can write an entire chorus right there out of something that you love to do. And you get a hook that way as well. So that's a great tool to use when you're pulling from experiences, is making lists, literally lists, and don't worry about it rhyming, just making lists of how you feel when you do that certain activity, or how you felt during a certain experience that you have had in the past or that you are going through right now. The next way to get great ideas for songs, and we're looking for great ideas, right? If you want to write songs, you're looking to have the best idea and to stand out from the pack and to really write something really great. So sometimes you maybe aren't comfortable using a certain experience in your life or don't want to necessarily, or maybe you have one experience you'd like to write about, but it was a small one and you need to elaborate on it. That's where imagined inspiration comes into play. I tap into this a lot because I co-write for other artists. And so I'm always having to imagine their experience, imagine their feelings in order to help them write a great song. So the imagination is a great, great tool. So an example of that would be imagine your ideal relationship. Maybe you want to write a love song, but you have only had one relationship that you can pull from. So, or maybe you haven't fallen in love yet, but you still want to write a love song. Then you can write a love song still. Doesn't mean that you can't do it. You still can. You just imagine the ideal relationship that you want to be in, or imagine how it would feel when you do fall in love with that right person. Or write a song about wanting to fall in love with that right person, or waiting for that right person to come along. Waiting for them to come along. Waiting for you to come along. Right there would be a hook that you could use. So ideal relationships, imagined situations. You can also pull from other people's experience. For instance, if your grandparents, maybe saying on the love topic, maybe your grandparents had the most ideal love story ever. Then pulling from their experience. You didn't necessarily live it, but you can lean into it and you can use it to your advantage and write towards it. Or maybe you have a family member that built their career from the bottom to the top, and they really overcame a lot of challenges, and you didn't do it necessarily, but you can lean into their experience and borrow from it for a song. The key here, if you're leaning into imagined experience for your inspiration, which I think is a great thing to do, and it's a really great tool to utilize for yourself, definitely making sure that you find a way to feel it. So this is something that I try to harp on with my students a lot. And even in co-writing situations, the only way to make it really translate with other people is to make sure that there is a little bit of authenticity in there in order to relate. And if you haven't experienced the song that you're writing about, that's totally okay. But find a way to feel it while you're writing it. So, for instance, I was writing with a co-writer the other day, and he wanted to write about his wife, his lovely wife, and they live out in Montana before they moved to Nashville. And so we're writing towards that. Well, I'm not in love with his wife, but that's okay. I know what it's like to be in love, so I can pull from that love feeling and write from a genuine place, even though it's not my particular story. Does that make sense? Making sure that you are just tapping into at least a feeling of authenticity in order to translate to people. Do we have any questions here? Let's see. All right. So the last one would be melodic, and a great way to, and this can be whether you play an instrument, guitar, piano, or if you're a vocalist, which is its own instrument in itself. Finding melodic inspiration, a great tool to use, I would really encourage you to do this, is to pick a song that you love, that you're very familiar with, and deconstruct the chords. So say there's 4 chords in that song. Play that through a couple times, or sing it through a couple times. Then challenge yourself by changing the tempo, or by removing one of the chords and trying to play with just the 3 chords. Switching the order of the chording progression. Those are all ways to play with an already previously formed song. But because you're so familiar with it, it will help train your brain to look for a new angle, look for a new way to build a melody. It's a great tool. I really would encourage you, if you play an instrument, I really encourage you to do that exercise. If you don't play an instrument, just doing it vocally. I know someone said they sing in the shower too. If that's a great place to do it, sing through a song and then sing through it again, but change the tempo completely, or play with the structure and the melody of a song that you already know really well. And that can spark inspiration very quickly. It's a great, quick, fast tool to get new melodic ideas. All right, so now we need to get we know what an idea is, the difference between an idea and a thought. In context of a song, the idea can be melodic, lyrical, or conceptual. We've gone through applicable ways to find inspiration, either natural or found inspiration, observation, relationships, experience, past and present, melodic, and imagined. So those are all things that you can pull from to find new ideas. Now we just need to take those and put them, we'll have a little bit of time here, but I know we can do it, turn them into a song. Does anyone have any questions before we get to that part? Give you a second to throw them in there. I will remind you too that, which is an awesome thing, today they're offering Get 10, I believe is the code, and you can get a percentage off of lessons. I would love to dive deep into wherever you're at with songwriting, help you on something you're working on already, go over more of these concepts in depth. I would love to do that with you. So definitely hop over there when we're done and get some lessons signed up. And we can go over all your questions one-on-one. You got this. Songwriters unite, right? All right, so what we're going to be doing is taking these concepts and squishing them down into a little song, which is harder than it sounds, ladies and gentlemen. When you take your melodic, lyrical, or conceptual, or a combination of those 3 ideas, we need to start with a type of song, which this goes back to one of the questions earlier, I believe, of how do you make your melody and your lyric ideas match up? This is where this comes in to play. We have a couple options here. There are multiple types of songs out there, especially genre specific, but when it comes broken down to it, there's three main ones that I want you to consider. And having a place to start when you're sitting down, you get your big idea, your big concept, squishing it down, pick the type of song. So here's the options we got here. We've got a story song. As you can probably predict, a story song is going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, like a story. A lot of country songs are written in a story format. When you do that, if you choose to write a story song, you're going to know that your goal then is to get your big idea into conveying a story. So you have a focus and a goal there. The next type of song would be a lesson song. This is going to be more of your message, concept, or feeling-based ideas. A lot of those can be put into lesson songs. A lot of Christian music, if I'm writing in that genre, a lot of those are in lesson format. So a lesson type song would be something that if you have a strong opinion about something or you have overcome a challenge in your life, conveying that message, maybe a message of hope, a message of longing. Maybe you present a roadblock and a way around that roadblock, and that's going to be a message lesson-based song. So when you choose that as your type of song, you know that your goal there is going to be to get that message across, to get that lesson taught. The third type would be an emotion-based song. So if you want to choose to make an emotion-based song, that's not just sad emotions. That's your happy songs and your party songs and your fun songs and your sad songs, your heartbreak songs, your falling in love songs. Those are all going to be emotion-based. And when you choose to go the emotion-based song route, you can take your idea and not necessarily have to worry about fitting it into first this happened, then this happened. So if you wrote a love song, that's a story song. You'd start with the first verse. Jim Bob met Carly Sue in their hometown and they fell in love. Next verse is they got married and they're still in love. Last verse is they have a baby and now they're in love with the baby. So that would be a story based. If you're going to do emotion based, you're going to be making your whole goal to convey the feeling that you want to convey. So if it's that relationship, it's going to be conveying the feeling of loving someone for all time. Or if it's a pontoon boat song, you're going to make sure that your goal is to convey the message of fun. When they're done listening to your song, every line and the melody need to make sure they're all pointing towards a joyful, I just got off a pontoon boat with my friends feeling. So those are, you can of course, as you grow, combine some of those a little bit together as well. But those are going to be your three main structure, and that is going to be your goal of your song. Getting your big idea into a song needs a goal. So you start with a concept and idea, then you're going to choose the goal of your song, and everything after that has to point towards your goal. So the next thing would be first, find your idea. Second, which I gave you some ideas for doing that. Second would be choose your direction, pick your goal. Is that going to be a lesson song, emotion-based song, or a story song? Next, you're going to pick your tempo, and this plays in with how it match up your melody and your lyrics together. If you're going to do a pontoon boat party song, you're probably going to pick mid or up tempo. If you're doing a story song, you might want to make more mid down in order to give you space to really flesh out the whole story. But you're going to pick your tempo based on which type of song that you choose to write. Remember, everything has to point back to your goal of your song, your main point. Now, this is a really big concept, and I'd love to do another lesson on this, or use Get 10 and get lessons with me. I'd love to go over this with you specifically, but to make it really quickly, getting a hook out of your idea once you've found an idea, once you've moved it and chosen your goal, your type of song, and then you've chosen a tempo to start from. And even if you don't know the chords yet, say you haven't picked a melody or a melodic idea yet, that's okay. Picking a tempo gives you a place to start with that as well. And you can play around with strumming patterns or even drum loops on your computer. There's lots of ways to listen and get a vibe for your song. But you need to get a hook. That's going to be the core of your song. You've started with your idea. Now you know what type of song you want, the goal of your song, and your tempo, you need to get a hook to base your song around. Now, the hook is going to basically be the most simplified version of what the main point of your song is. So if you have a concept about, I think earlier we talked about a bond, a relationship with someone whose bond doesn't break despite time or distance. Now that's kind of a long sentence, that can't be a hook. So narrowing that down, you would need to think about ways to do that. So thinking about, there's a country song called No Place That Far. That would be a great hook for a song about never being able to break your bond no matter the time or distance. So it explains the main point of your song. Your hook's gonna be the main point of your song, and hopefully in a catchy way. If you can't say it different than something very common, that's okay too. Just make sure you're explaining it different. Thank you so much for being here today. Check out my page, send me a message through there. And then also, if you would like to sign up for lessons, don't forget to use Get 10 for some money saving that way. All right, y'all, I hope you have an awesome day and awesome week. Keep writing, keep your spirit up, keep the inspiration going, and I hope to talk to y'all very, very soon. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.